On November 2nd, 2022, we got word of what we already knew was coming. RMC was teaming up with Hersheypark. Just a few months prior in July, the park announced that Wildcat would be closing forever on July 31st. This was the original GCI wooden coaster, going back to 1996. And anytime a park closes a wooden coaster in the middle of the summer, you know it's gotta be for an RMC makeover. Sure enough, Wildcat became Wildcat's Revenge, adding 34 feet of height and almost 300 extra feet of track. This was hyped up as the perfect addition to Hersheypark's already stacked lineup. And on Saturday, July 1st, I came to Hersheypark to check it out. It was getting rave reviews, and I can see why. Today, let's go over 10 things to love about Wildcat's Revenge, and a few to hate. Before you even get into the station, you're greeted with free lockers. I know in the past, I've said these were a con. They have them on Twisted Timbers and Steel Vengeance, and it can be kind of annoying. But the good thing is, you're not required to use them. If you have pockets with zippers, you can bring your stuff with you. It's always bothered me that there was no exception made for this, and people with secure pockets should not be treated the same as people with regular pants. The ops are very strict when it comes to loose articles, and I chose not to mess with my camera in the station because those ops are all over you. The free lockers are easy to use. They make the loading process more efficient. I think Hersheypark did it right. Next, they run this with 3 trains. That keeps the line moving. On a busy Saturday, I never came by when the line was long. I know it's in the back of the park. It doesn't get that natural foot traffic, but this was churning through people so fast. The line didn't have a lot of time to build up. 3 trains isn't always good. If they aren't fast enough, it just causes stacking. But with the lockers, without loose articles in the station, they can whip the trains out pretty fast. Hersheypark is really good about running more than 1 train, and I hope they keep 3 train ops on Wildcat's Revenge. Another reason that 3 trains works is the unloading station. It helps a ton when you can get people off the train outside the main station. This means no loose articles, and you don't want that on every ride. But on popular rides like this, using that very convenient locker system, take advantage of the situation by including a separate unloading station. It saves time when an empty train rolls into the station. You don't have to deal with people being stuck in their seat. It's just a whole lot more efficient. Last thing before the ride actually starts. Once you're in your seat, the ride ops don't staple you. It may vary from op to op, but over my 5 rides, I didn't have the problem of being smashed into my seat. I know some people and some other YouTubers equate being stapled with being safe, but it's not unsafe to have an inch between your lap and the lap bar, and that inch makes the ride so much better. There's a monitor that makes sure the lap bars are down far enough, and they make sure it's locked, but they won't destroy your ride by making it uncomfortable. Now for the ride itself. You start with one of the better RMC pre-lift sections. It's fun, but it's not like you're flying out of your seat, so don't get too excited. Then you rise up 140 feet and dive straight down, 82 degrees, and this drop is excellent. Not every RMC drop is great, but this is one to look forward to. I was wondering why the drop on Air Force One was kinda weak, even though it's taller and steeper than Wildcat's Revenge, but this one packed more of a punch. I figure it's because Air Force has 5-car trains and Wildcat has 6. This gives you that extra whip when you're in that back row, and you really get tossed out of your seat. The first element of this ride is a step-up underflip. This rises up and turns you to the left, all the way upside down. Then it leaves you sideways as you dive back to the ground. Because of the shape of this element and because it's so high off the ground, you get some very good hang time on this. Especially before the ride warms up, you're just floating out of your seat until the train levels off. This is mostly an RMC creation. The first time we saw this was on Joker at Discovery Kingdom. The last time was Mock Ride's Ride to Happiness at Plopsaland. This is on 5 coasters total, including Wildcat's Revenge, and it's a nice unique way to start the ride's action. The train hangs sideways and dives into my favorite element of the ride, this awesome pure camelback. This is just an uninterrupted moment of ejector airtime, very sustained. You get flung into your lap bar and stay there for a long time. You can find moments like this on Storm Chaser or Twisted Colossus. These are very simple, and I don't know how many other people would agree, but this is the highlight of the ride for me. Another quick pop of airtime in a high bank turn, giving some airtime in the back on the way down. You hit the next great moment of the ride, this 0G stall. This is definitely a quality stall, but not the best. Last week, when I ranked my favorite moments of hang time, I lumped together a lot of the RMC ones. Joker, Goliath, Air Force One, and I think this one belongs in there. It may be quick, but it's executed very well, and it does a good job mixing up the forces. Coming out of the stall, you have one of the most surprising moments of the ride. This wave turn. I probably shouldn't be surprised by these anymore. I remember the first time I rode Lightning Rod. I was stunned with how much airtime this has. Then I rode others like Twisted Cyclone, Iron Gwazi. These are all amazing. So here comes Wildcat's Revenge sporting this awesome element, getting a real strong pop of airtime leading into this wave turn. Next, you rise up and twist left, into a 0G roll, turn around into another 0G roll, hit an airtime hill, and then rise up into the brakes. That concludes what feels like a very long complete ride. I don't feel like it's too short, and in the end, you're looking at 47 seconds of ride time. Not the longest RMC by any means, not even the top half, but it's right in line with Joker at Discovery Kingdom or Zadra at Energylandia. And yes, it's identical to Iron Gwazi. Hersheypark fans were waiting a long time for this RMC conversion, and they did not get cheated. We all know that ride time isn't everything. If you want a long ride, you can also ride the Wild Mouse. That has about a full minute of twists and turns and dips, but it doesn't make it a top 10 ride, not even in its own park. How about the pacing? Wildcat's Revenge does it very well. I have it checking in at 60.1 feet per second. For comparison, it's much better than Wicked Cyclone and Twisted Timbers. Those are about 51 and 56 feet per second, respectively. And this is slightly behind Twisted Colossus at 61.4, Air Force 1 at 62.4, and then you got the big boys like Steel Vengeance at 64.3 and Iron Gwazi at 72.4. So it definitely doesn't try to rip your head off, but it doesn't lag either. And that's all I can ask for to make a great ride. So there you go, 10 things to love about Wildcat's Revenge. But this isn't a perfect ride. Let's go over a few things to hate. First off, this is a ride that needs to warm up. If you ride first thing in the morning, you may find the hang time moments are better, but the ejector moments are weaker. This is the case for a lot of rides, Iron Gwazi probably being the biggest offender, offering a totally different ride in the morning compared to the end of the day. Wildcat's Revenge is not that drastic, but having ridden it twice at 10 AM, twice more at 12 PM, and then once around 5:30, the ride experience is noticeably different. So if you only ride it in the morning, you aren't getting the full picture for what this ride can do. Just looking at the ride and seeing how it ran in the morning, right away I thought it was running slow and it could be better, and sure enough it was. Another thing I didn't like, there are two hills that I think just have a bad design. The first one is after the wave turn. You rise up into what looks like another great airtime moment, but then you level off and turn left, taking a mild dip into the first 0G stall. It's not only disappointing, it's also kinda awkward. That unbanked turn coming out of nowhere, and I don't think I've seen an element like this on any other RMC. The other one comes in the brake run. You get one really strong ejector moment, and it looks like you're heading into one more, but then the track twists to the left and you hit the brakes. This is very awkward, and it would have been nice to sneak one more hill into the finale. Last thing to hate, and it kinda ties in with the last one. The second half isn't very good. I think the first half is elite. Just about every element made my list of things to love. After the wave turn, it goes from a top tier RMC to a bottom tier RMC. You have the awkward twist to the left, the dip into the 0G roll, a turn, a forceless overbank, another 0G roll, a little hill that doesn't give you anything, one more good ejector hill, and then that awkward twist into the brakes. Some RMCs are loaded with great moments from start to finish, and I don't think Wildcat's Revenge lives up to that standard. So now the moment of truth. Where does Wildcat's Revenge rank for me? The whole day, I was thinking this was a mid-tier RMC. Not my favorite, but nowhere near the bottom. I stand by that, but understand, a mid-tier RMC still ranks very high on my overall list. Going down my list of RMCs, you get past the elites, and you start looking at rides like Twisted Timbers. Is Wildcat's Revenge better than this? I say no. Now we move on to Storm Chaser. Still, I don't think Wildcat's Revenge is quite as good. So next is Iron Rattler, and that's where I draw the line. I think Wildcat's Revenge slides in front of Iron Rattler, and right now, I'm willing to rank it as my number 24 overall coaster. That's still pretty dang good for everyone who thinks I'm hating on this ride. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing. It's the best ride in the park, and it's the best ride in the state of Pennsylvania. And it was a coaster that Hersheypark needed badly. They had a big gaping hole that only RMC could fill, and they got it done. I just don't think it holds up to rides like Steel Vengeance, or Air Force 1, or Twisted Colossus. Those RMCs that just kill it on every single element. I hope they keep up the good operations because that added a lot to the ride. It was the opposite of Iron Gwazi when that first opened. Short waits, good locker system, no stapling. All of that adds to the ride experience, so I hope and expect Hersheypark to keep that up. And as I said in my vlog, they seem to have done everything right with this ride. That's all I have for Wildcat's Revenge. Let me know if you've ridden it, how it ranks for you, what you like and dislike about the ride. What's your favorite element? Any thoughts you have at all, sound off in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. And if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub. I have a playlist with other coaster reviews. Also, check out my links below for my Discord server, and my second channel where I post copyright-free off-ride footage, and my baseball channel if you also happen to be a baseball fan. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.